Ah, Madame Haas. Blizzard. Blizzard. Blizzard, I am calling you out. You think you can get one over on me? I am the SS Gamer. That stands for Sticky Stinky Gamer. I can't get got. Look at this. What the hell is this? Well, this is a Megadungeon. And what the hell is a Megadungeon, you may ask? Probably not. Well, why don't we take a little look? This text is ripped straight out of the official patch notes of 7.1 Return to Karazhan. This is a large dungeon with a raid-like feel in which players will want to revisit as they work their way through. But it gets better. As well as giving us a chance to offer a 5-player dungeon experience on a scale not seen since the Blackrock depths. Okay. Okay, yeah, let me just stop you right back here. Because this is a lie. Wake up.
Joe Biden,
Wake up.
9/11.
It's a large dungeon the first week it's out. A modern dungeon, that is. Which means trash, boss, repeat until done. Sometimes there's even 2 bosses back to back. Incredible, I know. Not long after the true intent behind the dungeon is revealed, as if it wasn't already evident. It's just 2 dungeons designed from the ground up for speedrunning, stitched together with a similar theme. So when the M0 dungeon loses its relevance in a week, it gets split into 2 M+ dungeons, losing the Mega from the Mega dungeon. Like, this is big, sure, but this? Now, I understand the human decide to want to go really fast. It can be fun. Personally, I like M+. It's alright. Not a big fan of the timing part of it. It was just hard, and you could play it at your own pace and without having to sweat from start to finish. But hey, gotta go fast, alright? But the attempt to compare the scale of this to this? You're already falling short of your sales pitch. Don't get me wrong. These are big. But are they big? I'll let you decide that one, because I'm not getting my yardstick out.
But enough talk! How about you?
Besides comparing D sizes, and that's dungeon sizes, you dirty little gremlin. Nasty. It's on the inside that counts. So let's take a trip through a mega dungeon, Operation Megadungeon, and then a trip through BRD. Let's begin. You take a flight path to the dungeon. You summon your friends and enter the dungeon. You can check your map to see there's an aircraft hovering above a boss. Go clear trash on the way to one of the other bosses. Kill the boss. Repeat this 2 more times. Then the plane retreats to a boss arena. Go kill it. From there on, you will run through the bowels of the mechanized city and just kill trash and bosses until you're done. Along the way are some swirlies and a stealth section. A stealth section you'll be stuck at for 10 minutes, waiting for your teammates because it's for some reason not clear to them that they can hide here, and you can't use a double-seater mount to drag them to the finish line because you're inside, and you decide to just kill the boss 1 man down so that idiot can run through the other entrance that opens up when the boss is dead. The bosses are pretty fun, and some are more chaotic than others, but they have a nice flow to them nonetheless. The dungeon begins semi-open, but then turns linear halfway. It's obviously designed to be split in half, with M+ at its core. Oh yeah, the Fast Boy mode. I should mention that there is a hard mode on each of the mega dungeons. In Karazhan, it's go fast and click some Apexis crystals. We love those. And a new boss spawns. Kill the boss, and a guy gets him out. Sweet. Operation Megadungeon and Tazavesh makes the bosses harder. Beat the final boss and get him out. Rad. There is a problem with this though. The hard modes are for the mythic version of the dungeon. which is substantially easier than the M+ version of the same dungeon, which eventually makes the hard modes trivial in comparison. The M+ scaling, as fun as it is, has opened a huge can of worms and spread its goopy influence all over the game. Ooh. Okay, enough about that new stuff. Let's take a peek at what a run through Blackrock Depths would look like. Which reminds me, World of Warcraft is illegal. But it's been fucking me for years, so I don't know if I should call the cop on it or me. Anyways. You take a flight path, either to Searing Gorge or to Burning Steppes, and make your way on foot to the Blackrock mountain entrances on the north or south side. Inside the hollow mountain is a huge boulder, suspended in the air by massive chains pulled by giant dwarf statues attached to the mountain walls. Next to this temple is a meeting stone, where you can summon your friends. Once your group is summoned, it's time to head over to the dungeon by descending the temple and sliding down one of the chains attached to the base of the mountain. Then make your way through a slave mine and a refinery to find the entrance to the dungeon. I love that shit. The dungeon hasn't even started yet, but it gave you an appetizer. Something to get your tongue wet with. There's nothing chaotic happening around you, unless you're playing on a PvP server. Then Tyr help you. And now, the dungeon starts. You'll enter a large circular room with multiple tunnels. There are 3 bosses within these tunnels. In one of them is an arena. When you enter the arena, an announcer appears and sentences you to death.
You have been sentenced to death for crimes against the Dark Iron Nation. The sons of Thorson shall watch you perish in the ring of the law. Unleash the fury and let it be done.
Once dispatched of the enemies, he appears again.
I bet you thought you were done. But your real punishment lies ahead. Good riddance.
If you survive, you'll emerge into a room with a controller to shut a giant gate in order to get to the Shadow Forge. However, there is another path through the arena ramparts, leading to a few bosses, a vault, and eventually a huge anvil. If you didn't shut the gate earlier, you can keep going to another boss fight at the end of the hall. You're now right next to the start of the dungeon. Working your way back, shutting the massive gates with the controller, and walking through the tunnel through the side of the gate, you get to additional bosses, eventually arriving at the Grim Guzzler, a much needed reprieve from the many battles leading up to it.
But hey, you know, like MC down that way? Man, these fucking retail Andes, dude, they'd never be able to beat MC. It'd be too difficult for them, man. But like, yeah, like I'd take my fucking hammer, dude, and bash Wagnavos like that. Shit, dude. He did. I got this from killing him, by the way. So, loot drop. Ow! Oh, fuck!
Causing enough trouble inside the Grim Guzzler opens up the back door, leading even further into the depths. You're now on the opposite end of the vault and standing above the huge anvil. Going even deeper, you fight a couple of bosses and arrive at the bottom of the chasm under the anvil. Continuing onward, you enter a gauntlet where you have to keep fighting almost non-stop while lighting some torches to open a corridor leading to the final 2 bosses. Kill the big guard, the council, and then put a stop to the Emperor himself.
So, Emperor Thorson, according to these numbers here... Aren't you gonna stop them? Okay, you mind me taking the back door? Yeah, thanks.
As I did with the Megadungeons, let's go through some of the optional stuff you can do in BRD. Good as no. Anyways. If you die in the dungeon or inside Blackrock Mountain, you can run into the temple on top of the boulder with the chains in order to see a dwarven ghost that will tell you about the hidden location of a key. In order to access the key, you must first slay a boss inside the dungeon, steal his hammer, and fit it in the hand of a statue, revealing a hidden compartment with the key inside. The key allows you to skip directly to the anvil or the room above the arena. Killing the interrogator in the first cave gives you a key. With that key, you can open the prison cells, freeing some NPCs to progress on quests, one of which is an escort mission through the beginning caves helping Windsor gear up and fuck up some dwarven goons. This quest is one of the coolest quest lines leading up to the Onyxia tutor, but that's a tangent. If you fought enough dwarves in your party, you will have collected coffer keys that can be used to open their safes in the vault and steal the retirement fund. Steal enough and an alarm goes off and a boss spawns, as well as revealing additional hidden treasure. There's one more vault still locked, however, and the only key, held by one of the Dark Keepers, can open it. Just outside the vault room is a plaque with the name and location of the Dark Keeper currently possessing the key. Track him down, get the key, get the treasure. The anvil is a unique anvil used by blacksmith to craft some of the most powerful items the blacksmithing allows. Once entering the Black Forgery, you can discover blacksmithing and engineering schematics laying about on the ground. Inside the Grim Guzzler, there's multiple optional bosses and a reputation NPC selling even more schematics. If you're proficient in mining, you can offer some gems and metal bars to one of the 7 ghost dwarfs in exchange for him teaching you how to refine black iron bars. After killing the 7 ghost dwarfs, you can take a ride which leads to a raid, Molten Core, and it's a attunement stone, required to teleport to a raid without having to run through BRD, but just before the entrance is a furnace in the middle of a lava waterfall. That's right, the only furnace hot enough to smelt dark iron ore lies at the bottom of a volcano. And lastly, during the fight with Thorson, if you have enough quest progress, you can choose to spare or kill the princess for additional loot. Oh, I probably forgot some stuff. These are just the things I remember on top of my head. BRD is massive, and with all the freedom it gives you, it acts more like an instant zone than a dungeon. But this is my point. BRD isn't a mega dungeon, and if it is, the ones after it certainly isn't. It gives you the freedom to do whatever you want, just set a goal and run with it. It gives people a reason to go in, even if it's not to kill bosses, and also expands the fantasy of being a crafter, having to delve deep into a hostile mountain in order to utilize these ancient tools and knowledge to forge the best gear. It's badass. Return to Karazhan, Operation Megadungeon, Tazavash, none of these can stand shoulder to shoulder with the likes of BRD. And vice versa. If we isolate the encounters in the M+ dungeons, they're way more fun. But a lot of that is probably just the sheer age of BRD showing. All that talent and experience under one roof and still getting schooled by a dungeon made 18 years ago. So here comes the reason why I'm making this video in the first place. Besides just wanting to vent my frustrations on the internet. With a new focus on professions and crafting in the next expansion, and Blizzard relaxing the reins on the linearity of it all with the new Season 4 changes, I hope Blizzard reclaims that freedom and fantasy found in BRD and channel your creative energies into the next actual mega dungeon. I don't even want to call it that, but I don't know what else to call it. Blizzard is the one who made the term while referencing it to BRD. Make the next BRD. BRD Reforged. BRD 2. Electric Boogaloo. So let's just huff some copium real quick.
And imagine a little scenario in BRD 2, Ripto's Revenge. What the fuck is this, dude? This is so weird.
Goodness gracious. There's a cave where a bunch of goober boys are mining crystals. Nearby there's also a cantina. There's a boss in the cave carefully trying to mine a rare gemstone, and a boss in the cantina preparing food for the goober boys. You choose to go to the cantina. The chef is at the end of the kitchen busy frying cheese balls and boiling cheese doodles. But you notice a bell on the wall. You could kill the chef in a boss fight, But you decide to ring the bell. What's the worst that could happen? As your hand grabs the chain, the chef turns around. You ring the bell. Ringing the bell alerts all the goober boys in the cave as well as the chef. The chef exclaims, "You fools! What have you done? You'll be the death of me and yourselves. Quickly! They'll be expecting food, so you have to help me finish it before they develop an appetite for the living." The goober boys come swarming into the cantina for food, but alas, the food isn't ready. They start beating the walls, pounding the tables, and tossing their pickaxes and ore into the kitchen. A new encounter begins. Furnaces go haywire, shooting flames, pots spilling goop on the floor, and some goober boys jump into the kitchen that you'll have to drive out. Help the chef enough and the food gets finished, pacifying the goober boys. And maybe, if you did well enough, you learn a cooking recipe. The goober stew. Or something like that. You can now choose to kill the chef, or not. With the cooking event done, you don't need to clear the goober boys in the caves. But the miner boss is still there, carefully trying to get the rare gem from the wall. If you fight him, he goes wild like the others, and if you soak projectiles and protect the little rare gemstone during the fight, you could use a skilled miner to extract the gemstone to turn it into an enchanting rod, or a monocular gizmo for engineering. Giving us some freedom and choices on how to tackle a situation is great. Maybe some people like the cooking event. Maybe some would rather just kill the goober boys instead of feeding them. Something along those lines, coupled with some profession progression, and maybe even special refining stations like the anvil and smelter and BRD would be badass. All in all, I don't want to see another M+ mega dungeon. We already have M+ dungeons. We already have the overworld, face roll, world quest stuff. I want the unique content. Only an engaging 5-man instant semi-open zone like BRD can give. BRD is my favorite dungeon. Not sure if you could tell. And I know Blizzard can make something of its like if they just try to. But do they want to? I don't know. But even if they do something like this 5-man instant zone, remember that can of worms? Huge can of worms, and spread its goopy influence all over the game. Ooh. So even if the dungeon doesn't have any gear rewards or a weekly reset, it would need to have some sort of scaling as to not be too hard or too easy. In the end, I just really love BRD. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Also, give us dragon riding in the old zone. What the fuck is wrong with you?